Hello, everyone. Good afternoon again. This is the panel for nonprofits for social good, challenges, and solutions. And first off, we have Uday Mehta, founding director at Sid Divyang Foundation. And next, we have Satyapal, who's from Vande Mataram Foundation. And then we have Nacho Moya. He's the owner and artist of Moya Art Gallery and Studio at Gilroy, California. And next, we have Sanjana Chekuri and Esha Kode from Happy to Thrive Foundation. Hello and welcome. Uh, as we said, International Journal of Project Management states that nonprofits and non-government organizations are essential actors in international development. And in US alone, nonprofits employ about 12.3 million employees. And we all know that they play an essential role in cultivating communities and bridging gaps in between people. And we have wonderful representation from the sector here. So my first question is that, what inspired you to start your organization? And tell us a little more about your organization and where did you get the idea from? I think we can start from there.
Sure. So hi everyone, my name is Sanjana. I'm one of the co-founders to a mental health nonprofit organization called Happy to Thrive. So Happy to Thrive is the goal of our foundation is to reach people on a very local and specified and very intimate level so that we can create change starting from the root of the issue. So I would say that the main, sorry. I would say that the main inspiration for us was that I came from a background where I was not well acclaimed with the idea of mental health and how I could seek help when I was going through tough times. So as I was able to progress and learn through my journey about the resources available and how different outlets could be helpful for all of us, it became a mission for me to start exploring different communities that could also benefit from learning about mental health, what's available in the communities, what's available outside, and to bring forward that change. So our foundation actually works on, like I said, a very local level. So each year we spend time with 3 different communities. So when we say communities, it could be anything from children, for one community, it could be women, it could be South Asians. So those 3 months that we're working with that community, we basically try to do events that are specified to tailor the educational programs or like fundraising events that fit their demographics and what they need.
And I can talk about how we started. So Sanjana and I'm Esha. I'm the other co-founder of Happy to Thrive. And Sanjana and I first met through a dance competition. And back in 2017, we both participated in this huge, large-scale Bollywood dance event called IFA. And the practice schedule was rigorous. We weren't sleeping, we weren't eating, and obviously that takes a toll on our mental health. And eventually when we started opening up with each other, we found that there are many gaps in, say, the educational sector of America in general, where schools are also not well equipped with mental health tools to help children. And starting off like that, we kind of brainstormed this idea of developing a mental health nonprofit that will target all communities, and that's how we're different from other mental health related nonprofit organizations.
Oh, hello, everybody. My name is Nacho Moya. I'm the local artist and also owner of Moya Art Gallery and Studio. I opened my gallery in 2017, and then now I focus a lot in what you said, mental health through art. I've been healing people through art, and that's what I like the most about inspiring others and helping others through art. So that's my goal, to keep motivating others to follow their dreams. Like I had a dream when I was a little kid, and this is what I do, and I do a lot of virtual classes. I started doing these virtual classes during the pandemic, and I was helping a lot of people to go through the pandemic, and then that's part of being kind and also start healing people through art. And that's got involved in a lot of nonprofits, and I do a lot of programs with a lot of nonprofits as well, just helping families that go through difficult times and start healing through art.
Great. My name is Satyapal Guduru. I'm representing Vande Mataram Foundation. For Vande Mataram, it's the primarily it was the inspiration is itself that founder is his name is the Vande Mataram Ravinder. Actually, he got his first name also Vande Mataram from his. Um, so he grew up in a very rural village. Like I mean, in India, education is kind of completely commercialized, and it's not reachable for rural children and particularly the underprivileged children. So that's kind of growing year by year. So when he grown up, like I mean, when he started his kind of working first time, that like I mean, he realized that, oh, okay, uh, unless I go and work for my hometown, my village, like I mean, that's going to be, if I do something for my village, that's going to be a huge thing. So that's how it started, and then kind of that like I mean, all it's just spreaded through the word of mouth. Like I mean, when it was kind of the results were seen in his village, it was kind of adopted in all close by villages, and he got several volunteers. So all the work is happening in Telangana and Andhra areas. It's currently it's helping more than 150 schools. It's started 15 years ago, and the moment is kind of gaining, and every year 1,000 plus students get benefit from this organization, and as of now, the more than 700 students got into engineering colleges. So the program is primarily like it's kind of that like I mean, if you have a strong foundation in the high school, then that will pave the path for your career, and that's kind of completely unreachable for the rural underprivileged children.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Uday Mehta. I am a founding director of Sid Divyang Foundation. Sid happens to be my name, and I love to just walk through my little bit of my personal story as to why am I doing what am I doing. Basically, I just start with my story. A 74 IIT Bombay batch, migrated to US in 75, did my MBA from Santa Clara University, right in this campus here. Did my MA in economics from Cal State Hayward and CPA, and I used to work for Price Waterhouse in San Francisco, Oakland office. And then my son was born, and 2 days later he developed hypoglycemia, and then we had a series of 6 years we spent in US, me and my wife, she's sitting in the back taking the picture. And we could not find a solution for his illness, and then we decided to migrate back to India in 92 because his physical growth was normal, but mental growth was not there. His brain was severely damaged. Last year he passed away. He left his mortal body in July 2021, and then we decided to start this foundation called Sid Divyang Foundation. The objective is that over the years we had seen the kind of teaching pedagogy that has been used in teaching the children, special children, has been very antiquated, very pathetic. They just use a simple flashcard and try to explain the concept, which is not at all interesting to the children. As a result, they lose interest in learning, and learning is the guideline for the future. And so we try to use a assistive technology-based platform. If anybody is interested, we have a booth, number 20 down below, and we can walk you through that. So, and our focus is not only on the teaching, but also the assessment, because I strongly believe you can have the child watch as many videos as you like, but the most important part is how much is the child understood. It's like pouring the water from the jug into the glasses, and how much water has gone on the floor and how much in the glasses. So with that, but I would also add one more thing. I came here to talk about myself and my experience, but outside I just talked to the two young beautiful girls, and I asked them about the mental health and why they're discussing mental health at this age, and I really was surprised to know what they have to say. And this is something I would want to learn, because I left this this valley in 90s, early 92 to be precise. And those problems never existed then. And of course, we were in touch with our parents, our cousins and brothers and all that. But I guess they would never talk about their children's mental problems. So I would be more than interested to hear from these two beautiful girls as to why they have started and what they have done. Thank you.
It's interesting that all of you have realized different problems and have gone through different models of solutions to tackle those problems. And the one thing with the problem is that I'm sure that number of people share it. So a lot of people are there to empathize with the problem that you have identified. Now, empathizing is one thing, but pulling people to actually be a part of your solution is another. So how do you tackle that challenge? How do you actually pull people to be a part of your solution and make a change with you? I think we can start from this.
How can you? That's a very interesting question that we are facing, especially the special children. And one of the focus area that we are is the visually impaired children, because they are the ones whose brain is not. Brain is good. Many of them are very intelligent, but they just can't read, and they are dependent on the other people. The real challenge is a lot of people say, okay, funding, of course, funding is like breathing. You know, you need oxygen to survive. You need funds to sustain the organization. In my case, 95% is self-funded, so we didn't have that situation. Now we are looking for funds. The biggest challenge, if I have to say, is in our case, we give the platform to the school and the teachers. Now that the children do not have the ability they love the platform, but many times the teachers don't care, and we have to somehow keep pushing them that make sure that these children use the platform. So to reach your benefit to the final beneficiary in that whole chain of event, whether it is technology or whatever the source or energy that you are trying to flow, the biggest challenge is that it should reach the end point.
For us, I think the Vande Mataram Ravinder mainly focused on his just kind of silently doing his work. And when he was doing silently his work, it kind of attracted young folks and, oh, okay, so maybe we can also help you. So he never focused on kind of the fund generation and spreading it so he just silently went on doing whatever he could do. But later on that the beneficiaries from the initial classes or initial years that so they became his full-time volunteers, and that's how the organization grew. Here in US, mostly it's that we all, myself that I studied in government schools, so all the folks who went to public schools and somehow that they saw those fruits. Okay, we should do something back to the public schools. That then you kind of look at that who is doing this great work in the area that and so about this organization. So it was introduced to me through one of my friends 15 years ago. That's how I got connected with this, and that's how it's spreading. Now it's we are kind of trying to spread ourselves more, kind of coming to these kind of platforms and of course social media.
Can you repeat that question again?
I was asking about how you pull people to actually be a part of your solution. So how do you have them work alongside you for the problem that you've seen?
Well, the way I work with, since I work with a lot of nonprofits and with schools too, I do a lot of migrant programs. And then I see a lot that we need in our community. So we need a lot in our community. We need what I do. I like to motivate the young generation to not be scared about failing or dreaming big. And then it's amazing how you want you change somebody's life through your talent or through your voice. And also, I think I encourage the young generation, and not just the young generation, but like people in general, to surround yourself with great people. To surround yourself with people that motivates you, that inspire you, and then not be afraid to fail. And that's how things are changing. Because I'm sharing my own experience about making a change in the community, and especially when I work with a lot of students or people with they are low income, and just kind of like you said, everybody's smart. We just need to just make them believe in their dreams, and when they start believing, the magic start happening. So and then help them mentally, like motivational, and that's my goal. For me, as an artist and as a human being, is to keep helping these nonprofits organizations, to keep harvesting more dreamers and more dreams. I'm actually, planting seeds everywhere, and then later on, it's time for us to harvest all those dreams, and just keep going, spreading kindness in the world.
So Happy to Thrive, we focus on mental health, and mental health is a very taboo topic. So the problem that we were facing, like you said, was initially we wanted to just talk about mental health to everyone at the same time, and we wouldn't get that much of a turnout because not many people are willing to come and talk about mental health or learn about mental health. But fortunately, today's world, we are progressing more to a space where mental health is talked about more often. And I think the solution that we found is, instead of focusing so much on numbers and quantity, we're focusing on quality. So if that means we're going to get like 5 to 7 people, we're going to have 5 to 7 people, because these are the 5 to 7 people who are here to actually listen, to grow, to unlearn, to heal. And those are going to be our target audience. And we collect information from them to like better our programs for next time, so that maybe we will get more than 5 to 7 people next time. But even if we don't, that's okay. So we're focusing more on quality than quantity now.
Yep, I think Esha summarized that very well. And to add on to that, I think one thing that we've learned along the process was to maintain authenticity when we're trying to get people to recruit them for our programs or trying to educate them. Because, of course, like she said, it's about quality over quantity. And in being able to do so, we need to even have a good point of connectivity. So we need to make sure that we're understanding where they're coming from and what is it that we can help, because every demographic, every community is different. So it's our job to meet them where they're at, and not to make sure like they mold into a one-size-fits-all, because that's not how mental health works.
Yeah. It's also like you are setting example, you're pulling in people by setting example, and you are pulling in people by making them believe in themselves, harvesting dreams. I really like the word. And you're saying that you're pulling in people by making it a point to be qualitative about what you're doing. And now that you're trying to pulling in people and you're pulling in people, how do you raise awareness, so that how do you raise awareness for the cause that you've seen, and how do you raise awareness and spread it to people that we are there and we are doing this? So how do you do that? And we are talking in the context of internet and social media, and a place where, you could reach millions of people. So how do you do that?
So in terms of, our organization, the main idea is to raise awareness. So obviously we are continuing like our educational programs. So every community that we are reaching, such as women, children, artists, all that, what we're doing is we try to spread the message within their community in a way that they can understand it. And alongside with that, we have all of our social media platforms running. We have our Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. And in all of those, we try to have some kind of content coming out regularly, with be it like our blog post, where we're just talking about different topics, all things mental health, and we have volunteers share their perspectives too. Or always like posting some stats and like, some other like journeys or perspectives that people want to have, so we can always make sure that campaign is running. And actually, there's another thing. We've also done a campaign before we started our nonprofit. It started as a hashtag on Instagram. So we called it hashtag Happy to Thrive. And we asked people to just, like there was different hashtags running, like the black and white challenge. And then for another one for like the women at that time, the Turkish women. So similar to that, we did a Happy to Thrive hashtag where we just asked people to post a picture where they were happy and share that to show like the moments that they're thriving. And I think those type of things just keep mental health relevant. So we try to work on those.
And adding on to that, I think in order to pull people, you have to connect to them. So a big thing that we always emphasize is everyone has mental health. Like everyone in this room has mental health, just like you have physical health. But not everyone may have a mental illness. Only 1 in 5 people have a mental illness. Not only, that's a great chunk of people. 1 in 5 people have a mental illness, but all of us have a mental health. So when we put our material out that way, people are more likely to connect to it, and people are more likely to then come forward and join our programs and get involved with our nonprofit.
Yeah, that's right. You got to connect with people. That's the way I found the great way to connect with people, and I did it through art, and especially doing these free classes online where everybody connect around the world. Like got people connected from Canada, from Mexico, from Europe, from different parts of the world now, and this is so amazing how you can change somebody's life. I mean, from far away, from different country, and all the in the United States as well. But and the same thing, as for teachers or educators, anybody that you're teaching what you love to do. For you to connect with your students or the community, you have to make them excited. You have to connect with them and make them like feel happy, connect with you, so that they can show up. And I like to the same thing I do with my clients. I do the best I can for my clients to come back, and the same thing with my own students. I want my students to come back. When I run these programs, there's kids that are waiting in the line to get in my class because they love the way I teach. They love art, and then honestly, like it's how we start making a change in somebody. Just like by making everybody get excited about showing up and going there, and they see change, and they see and that's the goal. And I'm super excited every time I show up myself as well, because I'm excited to see my students too. I'm excited to see you guys here as well. I'm super happy. Like they said, quantity is versus quality. It's quality versus quantity, right? So it's just that's the most important thing, and then just keep it going, everybody. Like motivating others and inspiring others.
For Vande Mataram, one thing like and what we are doing is when a student comes to our campus, like first thing we ask them to write a story about themselves, like what is their life story. The life story is kind of where do they stand today, and after 1 year, that like what did they learn from this campus or from Vande Mataram, how it changed their life. So that's kind of that. It's spreading kind of you when someone tells that oh, this is how I was benefited, that kind of multiplies by several folds. One example is that like I'm gonna say if from a rural village, if a student gets selected into the triple IT engineering college, like that entire village knows that then oh, how did you achieve this? Like oh, I got help from Vande Mataram. This is how I got benefited, and this is how I was able to achieve. So apart from this kind of the thing that kind of word of mouth, of course, like and we share all these success stories in Vande Mataram Foundation website and Instagram and Facebook. We are trying to be active in LinkedIn too.
Hi, we have two different products. One is for the children with disability. There we approach the schools and say this is the thing, and they give them a demo and they like it. Then we give it, everything that we do is at no cost to the recipient. So we implement them, and so far we have received extremely positive response from the school. The second product which we have, it is we work with a team of doctors in KEM Hospital in Pune, which is a very renowned hospital, and they have a neonatal center wherein we are in the objective is to prevention is better than cure concept. So we want to guide the parents, especially of the newborn babies or baby to be born, as to what should be the milestone of child at the 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, because many times in India, the things get delayed, and as a result, the child develops some sort of a deficiency in his mental or the physical growth. So we do this so for the second product, which is called the Healthy Baby, that's an interactive app which is to be downloaded from the Google Play Store for free. And then there is a proactive support subsequent to that. That part we are using primarily the social media, and as you all probably know who are from India, that WhatsApp plays a very important role. So besides, social WhatsApp also, I'll call it as a social media, and those are the way we reach out to them.
Thank you. And one of the very common things that all of you have is that your emphasis on human interaction and how important it is for your organizations to spread awareness or to help people come in and solve the problem with you. One other important thing that comes with human interaction is building credibility and building trust. So one thing is that the first question that people ask is, why do we have to come to your organization? So how do you build that credibility and trust?
That's a very good question, actually. I think with Esha and I being young co-founders, and obviously we are not experts in our field, that is a question we've gotten multiple times. But I think it's obviously the efforts that count, right? In the end of the day, we're trying. We have to be careful, obviously, about what we're saying, the content that we're putting out there. We cannot advise anything medically speaking, or if we wanted any kind of therapy or psychology. Psychiatrist or psychologist, that's not a field that we are stepping into. But as a nonprofit, what we do is we try to guide them towards the right resources that they can approach. And if there are any cases where we need to be careful about our credibility, we do recruit the right kind of professionals who can take care of those type of things, such as we have a psychiatrist on our board who can now help us. And yeah, in general, I think also just being able to connect with other reputable organizations and collaborating with other professionals does help us build that.
Along with collaborating, which was a big deal for us because that also helps us build a lot of trust if we collaborate with an already established organization. I think just starting small. You don't have to just throw yourself out there and do something huge and not get the results that you want. So starting small and just adding layers to that as you keep growing was really helpful for us. In fact, we just ended our 4-week children's program recently, and that was our first ever children's program. And initially when we were planning, we were like, okay, we want at least 30 kids to show up to this. But then as we became more realistic with it, we were like, okay, we're 2 college students and we're trying to spread mental health awareness with children, which means we need to be very attentive to every child because every child is different. So we ended up having about 5 children, and it was awesome. We actually saw results, and we were able to measure those results, and also talk to the parents directly and see how the program actually helped them. So starting small and then adding layers as you progress has also been really helpful.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with you because the way when I started Moya Art Gallery in Gilroy, I started super small. Everything was small. My budget was really small. Everything, followers was super small, even though some of my friends well, you only have quite a few people following you. That's okay. That's all right. That's part of success. That's part of the process, But little by little, my goal was to build a great foundation for my business and to start surrounding myself with great people too, so I can learn. So that way, start getting the layers, start adding up, and then I didn't want to collaborate with something big because I will skip a lot of steps. I don't want to skip any step. I want to keep building those little layers that keep building my foundation stronger. And little by little, start getting more recognition. Little by little, start getting people's attention, and then building my good reputation as well. That's really important. So we can attract more organizations to work with me. I've been doing collaborations with Thomas Kincaid Family Foundation. I've been doing collaboration with ALAS. It's another great foundation in Half Moon Bay. Also collaboration with the University of San Francisco, Stanford, and also Berkeley and University of Texas. So I've been doing all those collaborations, and then they put me in a different level too. And then people want to come with me, but not they all these opportunities they didn't come like overnight. So all those layers that we like adding up and collecting would bring me to the next level where now people want to collaborate with me. There's more organizations I'm so proud of myself because those are great organizations that have a great name in the community and great reputations. And that's how also more organizations, students, I could say schools, they come into me because I think I'm doing a great job.
So in our case, like what we are doing is it's mostly about that sharing the real stories. So if you share the real stories, like that's kind of gives a very good impact. We did realize that for US has so many non-profit organizations. Like, and when you go and reach someone that, hey, we have this really good organization, we have some great work happening. Um, it's kind of everyone will be so skeptical. Oh, I heard about so many non-profit organizations. So I think what is important is to showcase the real work. So that kind of creates good impact. And you unless you market yourself and share yourself all the time, continuously, and if someone is donating $100 and share that every dollar of that where it is going, that's one thing. And other important thing I can think of is that we are our organization is in the area of education, that it's the need is so vast. And we do see there are so many organizations also working in this area, that kind of that working together, that clubbing with other organizations and sharing with each other. Probably that's going to help much more, I believe. And thank you for your organization to give us this platform to share these stories. Would you please repeat the question?
The question was about how do you build credibility and trust for your organization?
Vis-a-vis the donors or vis-a-vis the end users?
Vis-a-vis the end user.
Oh, okay. What we do is the credibility, or I would call it like a sustainability, of a project, more than, if I may use. I'll share you one. I used to work for the World Bank, and we've done a lot of projects, and this might be of use to many people. And one of the things that came out of it is in the donor meeting, and this is 99-2000, that we are funding so many projects globally, and how many projects are sustained after the donor pulls out, because everybody gives a very nice PowerPoint presentation and saying, hey, this project is great, we have done these great jobs, etc., etc. But how many projects really got sustenance after the donor pulled out? And it was a very interesting finding. I was part of the team, and we evaluated about 25 projects globally in 5 different continents. And interestingly, what would be sound like a very obvious thing is and this was a project about water and sanitation. And basically, water and sanitation affects in the rural part of many countries is the women, and the women should be the part of the stakeholder of this whole exercise. And it was So what we found out of 25 projects, only 5 got sustained after the donor pulled out, in spite of the fact that all 25 had very nice things to talk about how successfully they had done their project. And the 5 that sustained itself after the donor pulled out is the decision. It was a water and sanitation, so the decisions were to be taken where the wells should be, where the toilets should be, and wherever the decisions were taken by the women, those projects sustained. And the ones where decisions were taken by the government officials or politicians or something, those projects did not go beyond a point. Having stated a long story, so what we do in our application is our focus is not only on the input but also on the output, and we want to make sure the teachers, the students understood the subject or not. It's like pouring the water from the jug into the glasses, and you want to know how much has gone in the glass and how much on the floor. So in our application, we have a learning module and an assessment module. And through the assessment module, we've been able to establish that the students are learning. And whenever we find that they are learning, we encourage those things and we encourage the teachers to continue working on this. So this is how we are able to build certain amount of trust.
Okay. And then getting the idea, setting up your organization, pulling people in, building credibility and trust is all the beginning. But then you have to increase or scale your nonprofit, or you have to grow your nonprofit. And that is also another one of the challenges, because as an organization, I'm sure all of you have faced with a numerous amount of pathways or goals that you want to chase and get it done. So how do you grow your nonprofits?
Very good question. See, we analyzed early on that when the resources are limited and the need is high, and so that your cost has to be very, very low in order for replication. So both our projects are absolutely technology-driven platform. So in that also, there is 2 types of cost. One is the capital cost, and the second is the variable cost. So the capital cost is taken care of, then the replication becomes very simple for the variable cost to multiply. So by using the technology, we can scale it up very fast. So our approach is more from technology and use of cost accounting system.
Vande Mataram Foundation is working in 2 different models. Like the initial model was just kind of recruiting students and training them so that they can kind of gain all sorts of academic skills and go to good colleges. So with this model, that our reach was kind of only to some extent, because for every student, if you want to train, that there is directly the dollars and the rupee involved. So then the second model that our core committee, the Vande Mataram, Madhav Reddy Garu and Sripath Reddy Garu, their expertise is in the academics area. So what they are focusing is that the way for us to scale is to spread to hundreds or thousands of schools, is to train the trainers. So that is, train the teachers so that this can reach to kind of a lot more students. The another thing is that they are inviting all academicians and educational experts to come to our campus and see that what we are trying to do. So their focus is currently on revising the teaching methodologies, so that you can teach easily, because if we compare to last decade or 2 decades ago, the teaching methodologies, the technology changed so much, and now if you want to kind of explain some mathematical formula, you can explain a lot more easier compared to 2 decades ago. So they are focusing on all these kind of things, so that teachers can learn these techniques and then teach and scale it up to a lot more schools.
Okay. There was a question about growing, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. The way Moya started growing is just about always spreading the word, and then I use a lot of the social media like Facebook, Instagram. I use those tools that are free, and so like let's use this. Let's take advantage of these opportunities, and never let them go. So I started doing a lot of live videos, and it's also be in the community, volunteering, donating, supporting local uh, organizations, and be there for my community, and that's how things are growing, and it's keep growing and growing and growing. So my goal is to just like expand and do more for my community, and start recruiting more artists with me so they can help me out, uh, spreading kindness through art, and start healing people through art. So that's the goal. But I think using technology, it's how it's helping my organization and business to grow, and keep helping other people.
So we also rely heavily on technology, but along with that, I think we do two other things. One thing is realizing that the audience is always changing. The audience's needs are always changing. So I remember when we first launched during the pandemic, a big thing that our audience wanted was more like events that involved body movements, because we were all like in our houses, there wasn't much we could do. So we hosted a virtual fitness session, and they loved it, and we had a great turnout. And then now we're getting out of the pandemic, and our virtual events are no longer a big hit because people are done with Zoom, they are over being online. So now we have to tailor programs to what they need again. And just realizing that people change and people's needs change all the time, and again, meeting them where they are is a big thing for us. And the other thing that we do to try to grow is constantly taking people's feedbacks. So we just finished our children's program, and after we finished, we called up the parents of these children, and we directly asked them, how do you think we can improve? And we also sent out a Google form, and we implement those feedback and all of those tips into our next program. So those are the two big things that have helped us to continue grow.
Yep, I think adding on to what Esha was saying, we have to be conscious of what we're doing in the target audience and their needs. And I think an example of that is that when we were doing a program with children, we find that parents who want to send children to learn about mental health want to know about it a little bit before the children too. So it's important, it was our job to go and meet the parents before we ask them to send their children, to build that connection, to form that credibility and that trust so that they are more willing to send children. And I think we found that the more we do that, the more we go and personally talk to people and build that connection, we find that people are automatically joining our organization and wanting to make a difference and growing, because in the end of the day, people care about authentic and connections to work with nonprofits. And another thing that we have is that we always have our volunteer page set up on our website. So at any point when people look us up or anything, we have our volunteer match page where people can always find some kind of position that connects their passions with what our organization needs at the moment. And yeah, our page also is very nice for like high school children or anyone who are looking to just increase their own credibility for like their resume and stuff. We can match their needs too.
Yeah, it's different how each one of you are growing. You are saying that you're taking feedback. You're saying that you're being in touch with your community, and you are saying that you are training the skills. You're developing the skills of your trainers, and you are saying that you have chosen a path which is easy with technology so that you can develop it more. And the one thing that comes along with growing your nonprofit is teams and people that you work with. So how important is to find the right team, the right mentor, or the right volunteers to, take your organization forward?
A team, I think, is the most critical part of any organization, because no one person can make such a large impact or foundation with their own brain. They need different brains to collaborate, different mindsets, different perspectives to bring all this to life. So for Happy to Thrive, we actually have a team with our board members where we have people from very different fields, such as like a lawyer, a teacher, a parent with a child who has a mental illness, a psychologist, and we usually like to run our programs and our ideas through them so that they can all give their feedback and bring in their own expertise and experiences to guide us as to how we can, reach more people and make an impact. And of course, we also encourage all ages and all different mindsets. So of course, we have the experts on our board level, but we also had an e-board, which is like, high school students or like younger, like middle school students who can also share their opinions and help guide us as to what we can do for the community.
And adding on to that, I remember when we first launched, we wanted to have this huge team of people to help us bring our mission alive. But we weren't ready in the beginning because we didn't even have a foundation, right? So we got a lot of interest in volunteers, and we just wanted to accommodate everyone. And somewhere in between, I think we didn't really follow the mission of our nonprofit because we're so focused on making sure all of our volunteers' needs were met. So then going back to our root and analyzing and realizing that we need to have a strong foundation first before we let other people in and celebrate what we want to achieve has been a really big deal for us. So now that we have that foundation, we are ready to accept a lot more people to join our team, and then you can amplify the voices of everyone and get our mission across to everyone who wants to hear it.
Okay, that's good. I mean, for me, it's I'm the only one in the studio. I'm the only one in the gallery, but I like to team up with when I'm ready to team up with other people and make sure we do our part. And one thing I'm doing right now, because like when I do my events, when I do my programs, I like to build I want everybody to be a team, and be a great team. Everybody help each other, everybody support each other. We could say mentally too, where somebody's getting behind, somebody's struggling with something, just like, come on, let's help each other. Like let's motivate each other, like just telling each other's kind things and good things, and make sure we put ourselves with good thoughts and everything. But it's really important, to be a great team, where someone struggling in more and different parts, and other people are better than other things. So I think that's a great team, and I want to be part of your team one day, and maybe collaborate, do something with art, with the community, and I'd be more than happy to be part of your team as well.
Our core committee, moderator are primarily that he is focusing on mostly on this part, that is, what other organizations are doing in this area, and we are inviting them to see and come and talk to us into our campus, and we are showcasing what we are doing and what they are doing. So we are learning from each other. That's one aspect. And the second aspect is that not having kind of the second layer network. The primary members, the core team is doing awesome job, but not having a constant secondary layer network was impacting a bit. So we have been focusing on this one for last couple of years. And the other thing is that in India, all the corporates have this CSR program, probably kind of taking some kind of help from them. That helps in one in marketing and as well as the motivation, of course, the fundraising part too.
Yeah, I'd like to stretch one thing, because there's no big difference between the profit and non-profit organization if you really look at it. In the profit, the recipient of the services pays for it. In the non-profit, someone else pays for it and the recipient doesn't pay. But whoever is going to pay for it, he's going to demand the result, no matter how you cut the cake. So that is one part. And the second part, I feel in your delivery system, how much is the system dependent and how much is the individual dependent. So if the individual dependent process is more, you need a very strong team. If the processes are system driven, in our case, most of the things are system driven. In that case, the team, I'm not saying team is not important. But the importance of the team gets reduced because most of the processes are system driven and things get done. But overall, yes, of course, there is no two ways about it. Human works you with human, and the team at tier 1 or tier 2 level, whichever level you look at, is extremely important.
Yeah. And the one thing is that all of you come from very different sectors. So each sector, how much ever we generalize, have very different challenges. So my one question is that what challenges do you face now and how do you plan to overcome it?
Sorry, could you repeat that again for me?
I'm asking about how every sector has different challenges. So what challenge do you face now as your organization and how do you plan to overcome it?
Yeah, I think since we come from obviously mental health, but I think we could also generalize for health and well-being in general. I find that the biggest challenge is that people don't equate mental health with physical health. And in our body, it's important to recognize that emotional, physical, and mental health all have to be in harmony in order for a person to be at their optimal. So if, for example, someone has broken their arm or anything physically, right? They're willing to go to the doctor, get a cast, and they're very open about it. There's no stigma, there's nothing to shy about. If your neighbor asks, you openly tell them. But then as soon as it comes to mental health, we find that it's a problem across almost every community where people don't want to talk about it. Either it can be even on like as molecular of a level as like being at home, where either parents are not willing to listen to their children or children don't want to tell their parents about what's going on. And it's important to talk about it because anything that happens mentally is just the same thing as physically. There's no need to put stigma around it. There's no taboo needed there. There's no need to shy away. And yeah, I think that's the main thing for like anyone to be at their optimal well-being. All three need to be in harmony and mental health needs to be prioritized.
I can talk a little bit about like the administrative stuff. I think one of the challenges that we face is keeping our volunteers with us for a long period of time and not just for, say, a few months or a year. They get their service out. Well, majority of our volunteers are high school children. So just trying to keep them longer than, them just getting a few service hours and then moving on. Just trying to make an impact for them and figuring out ways that they actually want to help so that we could keep them with our team for a longer period of time is also another challenge that we face.
Well, this challenge that I face is, I think, getting more busier, and I need more help now. So I need to find an assistant to help me. So that's a challenge for me when right now I'm doing an event online, and then it's a lot for me sometimes. What I have to spend time with family too, and I have to catch up with friends and family. Sometimes it's a challenge for me to make the time and all that. But at the end of the day, well, I make it happen. I don't know how, but I make it happen. But there's challenges every time, and I love having challenges. It's exciting every time I do something different, and it's a new challenge, and I love it. And then I want more challenges. But that's how we grow, confronting our challenges and growing from them, and just keep going.
Um, Sustainability is kind of that one very important thing that you were touching a bit about that. So, uh, le- example is that like in this year, we helped 1,000 students, and next year, at least we should continue with this another 1,000 students. But that kind of requires the amount of same amount of the funds that you need to receive. That has several factors, and you may have some impact, and then you can't plan enough for that. Like, oh, okay, so I'm going to uh, comfortably support at least 1,000 students. That's one of the major challenge. And the second one is ask that when you hear that this good word is spreading that, oh, this student got helped, and then you hear from parents and teachers that, like, can you help our kid too? So that ask is more and more. So these two are major challenges. Like, and of course, like, and unless you scale your fundraising equally, you wouldn't be able to support all the requests.
Yeah, challenges are a pretty interesting question that you raise. I'll use a Sanskrit slok, maybe someone, and I'll translate it in English. There's something saying, Janami dharmam nachme pravrutti, janami adharmam nachme nivrutti. What it means that I know what is right, but I can't implement that. And I know what is wrong, and I'm not able to stop doing it. And I am sure they find it in the mental health problem. In our Healthy Baby project, one of the thing is that we can educate the mother that at 3 months the baby should have a neck control, at 6 months baby should be able to sit on this thing and all that kind of thing, and they should immediately try and contact the doctors. Now, what happens is there is a social stigma in the society that we live in India, and what happens is they're living in a joint family, and the mother of the child knows there is a problem, but the mother-in-law who is ruling the house because the son is earning and the father is earning would not want this to be known to the neighbors because that boy's sister is supposed to be married, and the people come to know about that there is a problem with their son's child, they would hesitate to have the daughter get married. Now, how do you solve this? I honestly have no idea. I mean, but these are the real problem of the situation. You can just educate them. You can tell them that this would be there. You try and contact the doctors. But whether they will do it or not, as they say, inshallah.
Yeah, it's different how many challenges and how different of challenges that you're seeing and facing. And I think one of the common things that both of these organizations have is a social stigma attached to both of the physical as well as mental health. And you are saying the scaling up, both of you are saying that scaling up is a problem because is one of the challenges that you're facing is to recruit more people and scale up to the number of people that want to be a part of your organization and want those services. And lastly, how would Touch Alive or the people in the room can support you?
Sure. So I think, like I was mentioning before, it's all about having that authentic communication. So Esha and I, we like to run Happy to Thrive on a local and intimate level where we get to interact with each of the people that we want to touch. So I think through Touch a Life, it would be great to have like volunteers who could conduct like similar programs in their own respective communities, and work closely and intimately with the people that we are trying to do. So, if we, for example, when we did the children's program, we had met with many of the parents initially, and we talked to them about like what the program is and all that. And I think if we were to, in the future, whenever we have any other programs, they could also potentially conduct those events in their own communities.
And along with what Sanjana said, a big part of mental health is just creating space to have those discussions. So Touch a Life could help us by just creating dialogue around mental health, whether it be through whatever they're already doing or if they want to collaborate with us. But either way, mental health starts with education, and education starts with dialogue. And this is a great way, this panel is a great way that we are beginning to do that in a state other than New Jersey, which is where we're both from. So thank you for having us.
What was the question again? Can you repeat that? I know it was recently.
What can Touch a Life or the people here do to support you and your organization?
What can I just, okay. Okay, touching somebody's life, it's just like, the way you touch somebody's life is just sharing your story, and then sharing what you went through, and especially when you go into, some difficult times mentally, where they said, "Wow, this guy went through all that," and then, and I'm going through the same thing, and he's there right now, so I have hope, to become a better person. So for me, it's just like I love touching people's hearts and lives through my story, where they can see there's hope and dreams are real, and the dreams come true when you work hard and dedicate yourself 100%. So that's one thing. That's one of the things I do when I work with nonprofit organizations and they need the sponsors. What I do, I just share my story with the sponsors and say, this is what the students are gonna get with me. They're gonna learn about social skills. They're gonna learn about believing in themselves. They'll learn all these positive things, and then that's when I can touch the sponsors' hearts and lives, and also they're gonna help the organization and the nonprofit organizations to touch other lives to become uh, successful. So that's the goal for me to work with nonprofits and be able to sponsor more organizations to provide services. I only focus in the arts, but my art class is not just art, but I also like to motivate my students and mentally. I have a lot of great stories about my students. They were going through difficult times like depression, anxiety, and panic attacks and all that stuff. So with sharing my story, sharing what I do, and they don't need any medication. They don't need any type of therapy. Because just doing art, they heal, and that's something that I'm really interested in the organization, and maybe we can do something and bring something there. But and that's how I touch people's lives through my story and what I do.
Education is the biggest gift anyone can give to anyone. If you could do something about education, yeah, please give more priority to this one. And once again, thanks for Touch a Life Foundation to give us this opportunity to share what we are doing. So spread the word and then kind of help each other. So that way, I think we can reach more and more children, and we can change more and more children's career in a huge way.
Yeah, first of all, I'm very fortunate. I happened to talk to Sai Gundavelli just last Friday, and it was very kind of him to offer me an exhibit booth and also this spot here to talk. So I'm really, really thankful, and I happen to be here because the day after tomorrow I leave this area. My thing is that, as Buddha says, the two things increases by giving. One is knowledge, and the second is love. So in our case, I would appreciate, because our app Healthy Baby is uploaded in a Google Play Store, and Touch a Life has a very strong hold on the IT sector and to be more precise in the social media sector. So if we can get more exposure through the social media and make people aware about the app and they would be able to download it, that would be the very big help, and that was something I really appreciate.
I'm sure Touch Life Foundation would be very willing to do that. And thank you so much. And wrapping up, we have seen how each nonprofit organization from different sectors challenges and battle their challenges and come to the solutions. And for me personally, it has been very inspiring to see how many challenges that you deal with and you still are going forward and you're very willing and you're very determined to go forward. And I hope it's inspiring to all the people who have been here and all the people who are watching this. And thank you so much and have a good afternoon.
Can I take just few seconds? Like Giving Tuesday is around this month, November 29. Many organizations do kind of, I think, 2:1 kind of matching. So please think about your favorite non-profit organization and donate. Thank you.
Also, just wanted to thank Susmitha for being a wonderful moderator,
Oh, yeah.
and Veena,
Yeah.
Auntie, and Sai for being able to connect all of us like-minded people.
Thank you. It has been an honor to get to know all of your stories and to ask you questions and moderate this panel. Thank you so much.